Okay, folks. Sorry for the wind. I don't have I'm on phone, so I don't have a way to stop it. But I'm working on the ATV. I'm about done with the upgrades or repairs I'm doing to it. So this thing sat outside for a couple of years under a tarp after overheating on me when I was pushing gravel around in our driveway, and I just kind of just stayed there. So finally got I brought it home, got the overheating issue fixed, and then started dealing with other issues. So I'm about done with all those. Um, I'll give you a little rundown on what I've done. So where to start? Okay. First of all, this thing sat outside, like I said, under a tarp in the forest, and really just started to corrode. Everything that was aluminum on it was scaly and pitted and just in really, really bad shape. These front struts up here were just absolutely awful, and I mean, looked like they were growing, looked like they had barnacles on them. But anyhow, so gotten all that cleaned up. The rear diff was the same way. You still see some of it on there, but it's much better than it was. It was. I mean, it was bad. So anyhow, when I started getting into it, I started pushing snow this winter, just trying to clear off the neighbor's driveway and mine, and realized that I had a faulty winch relay, and it's way down under here on these Polarises. So I had to take all this out, and when I got in there, I realized that I had multiple issues. Not just that part, but my winch would go out, but it wouldn't come in, and I kind of need that when I'm pushing snow. So I ended up going through the whole system, got the new winch relay, and then pulled the winch off. It was so crusty and corroded everywhere. It had aluminum to it. All the paint had come off, and these things were seized up and all that. So I ordered a new fair lead, ordered a new synthetic line, ordered a new hook, new snubber there, all that. So I ended up breaking the terminal off on this because it was so rusted on there that it actually broke. But once I got it off there, the brushes were pretty worn anyway. So complete rebuild on the winch up front. Actually flipped it over the way it's supposed to go. They had it mounted upside down. The previous owners did. These things, the attachment points for your front cargo, were just totally rusty. Ended up having to get them all down. Now this damage right here was done before I got it, and I never understood. This was just, I guess, cracked, and they bubble gummed that back together with some epoxy. But I realized after I got into it that this probably took a hit. It nosedived somewhere and probably ended up damaged from that wheel coming up and hitting that. So, and what led me to that was when I started getting up in here and all this issue, I realized my handlebars were bent, and both sides were pushed down, and ended up having to replace those. But so now the bars are back to factory specs. They were really pushed down, probably a half an inch or better just outside the stem, and pushed down probably a couple 3 inches on this side, and probably about an inch or so on that side over there. So order new bars, but after I got some of that stuff going, I realized I wouldn't start. I thought my ECM was out, and so I ended up replacing every piece on the dash up here. This I replaced. I really thought my ECM was going bad. It ended up being this switch was bad. Saw somebody on YouTube saying that this run switch, he could push this in, which is not meant to do, and he would get lights on his dash, and then it would start, and as soon as he'd let go of this, it would die. And mine did the exact same thing. So I held off ordering the ECM. It was $500, and bought this for $20 on Amazon. Sure enough, that was it. So I'm glad I did that. My master cylinder, the front brake handle was so corroded at that pin right there that it would not move. So I ordered a new one of those. I ordered hand guards for it. When I put the hand guards on, I realized that somebody had been in here before and it stripped out this mounting hole, which wasn't bad until I put the handguard mount on there, and then all this weight would then tilt this thing forward. So that's when I found that. So I ordered a new box here. My four-wheel drive wasn't working either. When I put this box on here, my four-wheel drive started working. So I've been real lucky with the repairs, because that four-wheel drive hub down there, magnetic hub, was going to be hundreds. The ECM was going to be hundreds. I ended up getting this for 50 and this for 20, and I fixed both those major issues. And my handguards are mounted, solid now, like they should be. So went inside here, cleaned up all the wiring. There's a bunch of stuff in there. This guy before me actually added a horn. I'm assuming that's not factory, but they had the wires going to the horn had 3 different connectors between other pieces of wire just going down to the horn, which is right under here. Silly, about 2 feet of wire, and we've been fine. But so anyhow, while I had it apart, I added a lift kit to it. That's the wheels and tires that came on it when I bought it, but they would rub a little bit if you turned hard and hit a bump. The front would rub. I've never had the rear rub yet, but it just looks much better once it's now up on the lift. But so I got a few more things I need to address. I'm going to replace this rock screen down there for the radiator. It's pretty funky, and I will probably replace the thumb throttle piece. But to be honest with you, I think I'm going to replace this exhaust. It's some aftermarket exhaust, and I'm sure they paid big money for it. It's a header. It goes on. It's a one-piece. Well, no, it's a slip-on right there. It looks like. Anyhow, it's super loud, and it's annoyingly loud. I mean, to the point where I don't know how. I've always used it for work. I can't imagine what it would be like on a trail ride or something with it being that loud. So I guess we'll see. But the only other issue I'm having now is this is your selector switch. So if I go all the way down into park, it's hard to get it out, and if I go all the way up into high, it's hard to get it out. So I've got some issues there with it's fine between low, neutral, and reverse, but well, that's all I got. I'm just trying to keep you up to date on it. This thing is it's a workhorse. It's great for pushing snow, but this year kind of let me down just because I had neglected it, and now we're back in business. So ready for more snow next year, I guess. All right, that's all I had. Thank you.